Any questions anybody wants to ask? Bearing in mind one thing. Who knows what the pension is in the UK if you were to get the standard pension?
It's about £120 a week, isn't it?
It's about £117 a week. So if you do nothing about your future, okay, I know some of you have got a while to go before you hit pension age, but what I would like to point out is, who remembers where they were for the Millennium Party? Okay, how long ago does that seem it was?
Not long.
Okay, how many years ago was the Millennium Party?
14.
Okay, how many lots of 14 have you got before you retire? Some of you might have 3. Okay, this is the reality of where you're sitting now, and you know, today is a day when you can actually go, right, no, I'm going to do anything about it. Now, I know you are doing something about it because you are here learning how to do property. Okay, but it's just to highlight that if you don't do anything, £117 per week is the figure that they pay at the moment, and like that little old lady, you have a choice of whether to eat or to heat. You certainly wouldn't have a choice of petrol, because I know my petrol bill's more than that pension. I think my wine bill's more than that petrol bill, that pension every week. So, business plans. Who would like to go first?
Whoever makes eye contact.
So, Sophie.
I've got one for them.
Yeah, we'll move. Well, we'll tell you. Do you think it might be good?
It's all right.
Okay. Is it the best you can offer it?
Yeah, it is at the moment. It's the only one I can.
Well, if it's the best you can give, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about
Where is it? I've lost it.
giving it the best that you can. Yeah, in the time you can allocate to it. I know people who have actually gone to their bosses and said, "Can I do a 4-day week?" Yeah, rather than doing a 5-day week. I've known people who've gone and said, "Can I do a 10-hour day instead of an 8-hour day?" and work 4 days a week. In order to give them that day that's so valuable towards your get ahead stuff. You ready?
Yeah. Do you want me to answer the questions first that you'd set out? How much time?
Yep.
The time, that's for both of us. Steve and I.
And who's
Full
in
time.
charge of Steve's time?
Me.
Just, I know he's already shared that, so I know he didn't mind you saying that.
Okay. Steve will be doing it full time, but because I've got home responsibilities, I'll be doing it part time.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to lose my job in January, so
Yep.
that makes 2 full time.
Okay.
Working capital pot. We've got one house for sale.
Yep.
When that comes through,
Mhm.
then we'll have at least 20,000.
Okay.
The area is something that we're going to have to research over and over again till we fine tune it and get
Yep.
it right.
Mhm.
But we're going to be focusing on Lincolnshire,
Yep.
or if we're casting our net wider, it'll be the Midlands.
Okay.
We currently live in Lewisham.
Okay.
Because the children go to school there,
Mm-hmm.
upping and leaving quickly is not.
Okay. Do you own your
Reason.
house or rent your house there?
It's a mortgage property. Yeah.
Okay. So, if you want to, and I know you've already spoke about this, you can rent your house out so you get the benefit of the capital appreciation,
Yeah.
and then perhaps look at renting somewhere where you want to be investing.
That's a good idea, Glenn. But there was just one thing in my mind. I paid for about 8 or 9 years for a mortgage protection plan, and because I've lost my job, I can actually get them to pay for it for a year.
Yeah, and?
So maybe I'll keep that moving bit for next year, because then I can then change the purpose of the mortgage. Because right now it's a residential mortgage, and if I let it out, I might be in trouble.
Okay. So risk reward the potential of losing your insurance policy.
Yeah,
Okay.
because that covers the whole mortgage.
Okay. Well, if it covers it, you could leave it empty,
Okay.
or you could leave a house sitter there who might just happen to pay you a bit of money but not actually be a lodger. You're actually allowed a lodger. You're allowed to rent one of the rooms out.
Right. Are we?
You can rent one room out, yeah, in any house you can rent a room out.
All right.
Yeah, but from a mortgage perspective, it's allowed. Well, you're within your terms and conditions to rent a room out.
Okay. That's very good information.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have the short-term goals. We want 2 rent-to-rents in or around Lewisham, straight away.
Okay.
That's
Now
for the
I'm
cash
going to ask you to say that again.
we're going to get
That's far better.
within a month.
See the difference?
Yeah, within a month. We're going to get our cash flow sorted. And we've got
What's defining your cash flow sorted?
3,000
Okay.
a month.
Okay.
And we've already got 2 properties that are cash flowing £700 a month.
Okay. So you need a further 2,300.
Yes.
Okay. Which you're hoping to get from.
2. Plus we're going to be letting out the property that we got up for sale
Okay.
that we might eventually actually have to remortgage.
Yeah, I see that. I did show you how to sell that if you wanted to sell it.
Yeah. That's possible as well.
Okay. Right, okay, you're more realistically going to take 3 to 4 rent-to-rents to give you that amount of money that you need.
Okay.
Because you struggle to get anything over £800 a month to £1,000 a month per property,
Okay.
unless it's a much bigger property.
Okay.
And they tend to already be let out.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. And of course the medium plan is to do flips, joint venturing.
Yeah.
In the Lincolnshire area.
Okay, so
Not
what I
really
need you
in-
to do is when you come to do your weekly plan, is to make sure you diarise a weekly place to go, like what they call network events.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can go find JV partners.
Yeah.
So you can go down to Berkshire, you go down to London, and you could go with the clipboard to say, looking for JV partners for deals in Lincolnshire.
Yeah. Okay.
And if anyone comes and talks to you, say, look, I haven't actually got any deals at the moment, but as soon as I do, I'll be in touch. Have you got a card? Okay, and then you're building up your...
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. I don't know how many flips I'm going to do, but the focus is...
What's your target?
Target is to get an income of 50,000.
So you want
Because
to
I
do
want
at
to
least
build up that war chest of-
2 to 3 a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to get to that £100,000 figure.
Say that again.
We're going to get to that £100,000.
Say that again.
Going to?
I might believe you
We
if you
will.
say that.
We will. We will get to that £100,000 figure in that time frame that you illustrated for us
Yes.
in the previous session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So when do you expect to get your first flip deal?
3 months.
Okay. So that's the target.
Yeah.
So what comes first, the flip deal or the JV partner?
JV. Okay. So we've got to do our homework in Lincolnshire first.
No, you've got to do both. You've got to look for JV partners and for a deal. Because whatever comes first, once you've found a deal, it would be much easier to find a JV partner. And once you've found a JV partner, it would be much easier to find a deal. Because you've got
Yeah,
like
I
more
see the
clout
logic.
there, yeah? So go for both.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, or look at the partnership program, in which case we can be a JV partner and you don't have to go around and looking for them.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and that way you find the deals and I fund them. Okay. We've last month when I ran the mentorship day, the partnership program was closed because we're just opening up for 2 spaces for the next 8 weeks. We're going to take on 2 more people on the partnership program. But we'll give you details of that. There's an application form. So if anyone's interested in that, there's an application form. You see Mel, she'll give you the application form for the partnership. I'll tell you more about the partnership program as we move forward into the type of deals we're talking about. Then I can use examples from the partnership program. But it's where you find the deals and I fund them. And you get to take our bank statement into the estate agents and say that's my partner and blah, blah, blah.
Okay. The only thing with that is a bit like having a pet. Having 2 rent-to-rents in London is very time-consuming. And
yes, you don't want to, if you're going to move for a period of time to Lincolnshire, you don't want to set yourself up with rents in London, you want to set them up in Lincolnshire.
Yeah, but rent-to-rents don't work in Lincolnshire, they work in London, so...
Pardon?
In Lincoln City, because of the student population, and there is... No?
Why do you say they don't work there?
Because the rents are not high enough.
Okay. What, the room rents? How much are the room rents?
About 200 a month.
A room?
Yes.
They work in Lincolnshire, in Lincoln City.
Do they? Rent to rent?
Big rent rents in Lincoln City.
Oh, right, okay.
The Catherine's Grove, big rent rent. Months Road, all the way up
Monks
Monks
Road, I
Road.
know, because of the student population.
We've got buy-to-lets in Lincoln, but we never considered rent to rent anywhere outside
Works.
London and the home counties, really.
It works. It's anywhere that there's a need for rooms. It's not just students in Lincoln, there's a lot of professionals in Lincoln. Especially at the Belgate end.
Okay.
So Stephen, to you, that's why I know.
It's about 300 per room a month in a share house.
Really?
Yeah,
That's students.
but that's students. Don't let students.
Don't let to students.
Not unless you've got a really good insurance policy.
Says a student.
Yeah.
Did you have fun?
Just get the parents to guarantee it.
I've been looking at trying to find. Oh, I'll be finding someone to help me run a company that allow me to free up my time,
Okay.
and then from there looking at doing rent to rent,
Okay.
build up a cash flow.
Okay.
In an area of Stafford, nearby where I live.
Okay.
It's about half an hour away.
All right. So, what I'd prefer it if you did. Are you looking at taking on someone full time to take over what you do in your role?
Yeah.
To allocate a bit of time while you're searching for
Yeah.
the right person to go and do one.
Yeah. At the moment, I'll probably do, even trying to find that person, so I can probably do 2 hours a day.
Okay, which is ideal
Reason, yeah.
if you're doing it within your local area. I was speaking to Sophie at lunchtime, and they said they don't really get time to source anything. And I said, so you have only one appointment on your way home from work every day? And you said, okay, it's working your time. If you have an appointment, if you haven't got time, you'd have an appointment for one deal on your way home every day. It's about getting the best out of your time, isn't it? So yeah, so 2 hours a day.
2 hours a day. Once I've got more free time, we'll be looking at flipping properties.
Okay.
I'm starting doing that.
And whereabouts?
In Staffordshire again. I checked on Rightmove last night and there's 275 houses
Okay.
for less than 180,000.
Yeah, now
Or bungalows, sorry.
potentially bungalows at work. The thing is, it's that 100 because you've changed the rules. The search for whether it works in that area was what I gave you. It was nothing to do with bungalows. Okay, yes, that's our target market, but the numbers I gave you will tell you whether it'll work in that area or not. I know it sounds an illogical thing to do to see if you can flip bungalows, but if they're under 180 grand, but there's that many of them, it might be the bottom end of it is too cheap,
Yeah.
and you might just need to focus on the top bit of it, which would be great because that would be the 4 and 5 beds. You can open up the kitchens and expand them.
Yeah. It's straightforward to do. That's pretty much it.
Okay, no, that's fine. That'll work.
Yeah, so...
You have no notes.
It's just in my head.
Okay.
So yeah,
How you do one thing is how you do everything.
okay. It's a rough business plan.
And you go through your life doing rough things? Or is it just not something you're quite ready for yet?
Yeah, I mean, I plan to start next year. This year is a bit tied
This year
up
is
at
a
the moment.
bit what?
Well, I'm building up the finances, let's say, this year.
Why?
I'm sorry?
Why?
Why? I've just got a new job, basically, so
Okay, which means you're working how many hours?
don't know, yet to be seen.
Okay.
Yeah. But next year I'll be free. It's
But next year never comes.
it's a temporary job, so it's got an
So
end
why are you taking it?
to build up the money. So next year I will be I'll be looking to.
Are we going to let him walk away from this? Why are you waiting for next year to get on with your life?
'Cause
What's your big?
I'll have a considerable pot next year.
Okay, so tell me what I'm missing.
It's a well-paid job, let's say.
Okay.
Yeah, so it makes sense to do it and build up a pot.
Okay, and how many hours does it take?
I don't know.
How many hours do you think it will take?
I don't know, 10 hours a day, maybe 12. I don't know.
7 days a week.
No, 5 days a week.
So what's wrong with Saturdays?
Nothing.
Okay. So let's forget about next year. Let's come back tomorrow and tell me your business plan about what you're going to do about with your Saturdays.
Okay, so Saturdays.
No, I don't need to make it up. I want you to write it down.
To write
Because when you write it down, it sinks in more.
Okay. So Saturdays I'll look for rent to rent.
No, I want you to write it down and tell me tomorrow.
Writing it down.
So write it all down and share with it tomorrow morning.
Okay.
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 Thank you. So that's 2 mil for tomorrow morning. But I want to see it written down. Do you want me to push your buttons?
Me?
Yeah. Okay. How hard do you want me to push them on from 1 to 10?
10.
Good. That's the right answer. 9 is not the right answer, okay? I'll accept 10, 11 or 12.
Okay, I've got 8 months before I have to get out, before I can take a break from training. So I'm in medical training at the moment, and I've got to finish that 8 months.
Yeah.
So, but during that 8 months, I don't have because it's rota work, so it jumps around. So I can't say it's going to be exactly this day, but I aim to take a day out, roughly per week, if I'm
Okay.
not doing a 7-day week.
Okay, is that something you can diarise on a week-to-week basis?
I can.
Okay.
Yeah, but it can't be exactly the same day.
No,
each
I
time.
understand, but you can do it at the beginning of each week. You can know what day it's
I'd
going to
know-
be.
Yeah. Oh, well, I should know in advance of that, but I can give 1 day per week to it.
Okay.
I've got about 20k already as a starting point, but hopefully by the end of that 8 months, I'm hoping that will be 40k that I can put completely to start me off.
Why are you hoping?
But it will be, definitely it will be 40k.
Okay. Do we believe her?
So
Okay,
that's,
so tell us how it's going to be 40 then.
well, the 40 will come purely from the work I'm doing now, outside
Right,
of property.
so you're going to add to the pot from your income.
Yeah, but in the
now
meantime...
do we believe her? Okay.
It's verified. In the meantime, I think I'll start with the rent-to-rent, because I can do that alongside my work.
Think you'll start.
I will start with the rent-to-rent.
So you're going to start rent to rent, okay.
As soon as that 8 months is up, I want to start with the flipping.
Okay.
But I can't do the flipping within the... I don't think it'll be as easy to start with flipping. Initially, I'd like to just go with the flipping because I like that idea the most.
Okay.
Out of all the strategies that you discussed.
So, okay, I think what will happen is as we go through the next couple of days and you understand that you can set up a leafleting campaign for your marketing
Then just
that
start
takes
with that.
no time at all and employ for the cost of about £2 for every phone call an answer phone service to take your calls. And then all you have to do is make an appointment to see the people. I think you'll find you'll be able to start your flipping business Monday.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
I thought also that 8 months gives me time to research it and find the markets and find where I'm doing things. Get all of the background in.
Yeah, the getting ready to get ready to get ready. We know that one.
Okay.
Okay, how many people here like to get ready to get ready to get ready? Come on, hands right up. Right up. Okay. Am I being harsh? most people work like that, okay? I guarantee there isn't a really successful person who doesn't work slightly different. What does that mean? It certainly doesn't mean get ready, does it? Because it's like, oh, there's the bird. I definitely don't want to miss. 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 Oh, it's gone. Okay. How about bang? Oh, I missed that a bit to the left. So you know where you miss.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the Nike slogan? Do you know where Nike got their motive from? I think it's Nike. It's the winged goddess of flight for running. Okay.
Okay, so forget about the rent-to-rent, just go for...
No, I didn't say forget about the rent-to-rent. If you've got a full day once a week, you've got plenty of time to set up a leaflet company that is, or set up your leaflet distribution, which will feed you your flip deals, and you can spend the rest of the time searching for the rent-to-rent deals. And yeah, you will run into challenges as you go along, and you just jump on the webinar and go, Glenn, how do I do this? At the moment, we're doing broad brush. Right, let's get our plan out there. Let's understand our plan, and let's.
Yeah.
Can we have that from everybody?
Just do it.
Okay. So let's all tell her. Let's point out. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Good.
Okay, so my plan, I'll be starting with no capital really. So I'll be initially starting to look to source deals. I found the best locations that I looked at last night were obviously Liverpool, which you suggested yesterday. The closest to me really were Birmingham, Stoke-on-Trent and Manchester, which all came with over 100 properties. I'd probably look to, I will earn to start earning a minimum, hopefully, of 3,000 from each deal. So after today's session, though, I've changed it a bit. I did do 3,000 a week, but more realistic for me would probably be 2 deals a month, like you said.
So why is that what you're aiming for?
I want to raise enough capital to start flipping properties from that. So.
Okay. You can do one a week.
Okay.
So let's stick with that.
Okay.
Okay.
So.
And look, let's do that extra bit of driving to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Because it will be worth it, because it's that fishing in the pond thing. And although in Manchester there are that amount of properties, they're kind of all over the place. Liverpool, you want to find a nice concentrated area where there's a load of them in a close.
I did find Liverpool, there was considerably a lot more than the other areas. So.
Yeah.
So minimum 3K a week from each deal then. In order to raise enough capital to start flipping properties, and then from what you said yesterday, trying to look at buying properties to flip between 80 to 180k. So I worked out from using the minimum 80k on a house to flip, it would take me around 4.5 months to get the capital to start first.
Okay. Let me just ask you a question. You're going to find people to buy these deals off you, yeah?
Yeah.
Where are you going for them?
Network events.
Okay, so why wouldn't you at the same time look for a JV partner to flip deals with? So that you can just get on with that as well.
Yeah.
Because, okay, you're going to make half, but you'll make half of something you wouldn't have had.
Yeah.
So while you're looking and spending the time and effort going to network events looking for clients for that, you might as well look for
Do the same
yeah.
time.
Yeah. Does that make sense? Okay. Cool.
Thank you.
The challenge to that is Liverpool might not be the best place to do flips in.
No.
Okay.
I did a little bit of research for flipping. I live in Nuneaton, which is near Coventry area. Warwickshire, which is my county, showed up over 400 properties with a little formula we did. Coventry was 400 again, Leicester was 500,
Okay.
so around my area it looked.
That's probably a little bit on the cheap side, because I think Leicester's got about 100,000 properties in it, same as Milton Keynes from memory. It probably means they're a bit too cheap. Also, Leicester is a very high, same as Luton, it's a very high density of Indians in that area, and I've never yet done a deal with an Indian when it comes to buying a house cheap. Okay, if I show an Indian a solution to how to get out of their situation, they will then go and do it with their cousin or their uncle or their brother. It's true? Yeah. Okay, so there's no point in advertising in Indian areas for deals. Okay, because they don't sell cheap.
No.
So it maybe you need to be looking into. Coventry is a bit of a weird one, because Coventry, all the estate agents have viewers. The estate agents don't go out and view the properties themselves. So when we look at that tomorrow morning about how to deal with estate agents, you'll see that it's quite important that you go out with the agents. So what was your two choices for flipping, Leicester or?
I had, Warwickshire, which is the county that I live in, so obviously that's a quite.
What towns are in there?
You got Nuneaton, which I live in, which showed over 193. Warwick, obviously.
It might be that Nuneaton may work for the flipping.
Would you say for flipping you have a radius from where you are located? Or?
It's not too. It's HMOs where you need to be close. Yeah, rental properties you need to be the second closest. For flips, you can manage a refurb and oversee a refurb slightly at a distance. You know, hour and a half from home's okay because it's only for a short period of time. And if you've got several projects running at the same time in an area, then it's kind of worth travelling backwards and forwards. How much time are you able to allocate to this?
I've been considering giving up, because I play semi-professional football, which is like part-time, so I've been considering giving that up just for a year, which would free me up, obviously free me a whole day on Saturday.
Okay.
At the minute I only get Sunday, which is my only free day.
Okay.
So it'd free up the whole weekend.
And what level are you at? Are you playing?
Just Conference North, so.
Okay, so what's that, 120, 140 quid?
Well, I'll
Is
get
it a bit more than that now?
$250 a week.
Okay, it's gone up since when I was playing then. Second
Possibly,
division.
yeah. I mean, I play for Brackley, so it's not far from Northampton at all. So it's a possibility that the travelling I do, I could go to networking events in that area or close to there. But I'd be willing to give it up just for a year to free my time up so I can just get kicking, really.
It's just what I'm thinking of. If you've got the lads that you know that play football, they're ideal people to source properties for. It's just a thought mixing the two together, yeah?
Thank you.
Okay.
The area that I would be based would be Atherstone, Warwickshire, near enough the same as Eddie. But we'd be doing it in a sort of 5-mile radius of where I live, start, go north, sort of, Nuneaton away from his area a little bit.
What strategy?
Well, the strategy I'm probably better down for the area would be rent to rent.
Okay.
Although I would be looking at finding my brother obviously, I've had a word with him as a JV partner. I'd also try networking. At the minute I try to allocate 2, maybe 3 days a week to this. And then once I've built a cash pot...
What does maybe allocate 2 or 3 days mean?
Once I have built up a cash flow, cash pot...
So to start off with, what are you doing? Allocating how much time?
2 to 3 days.
Okay.
And once I'd got a cash pot of my own, from doing different ones with my brother or networking, let's say, then I'd probably look at trying to take on rent-to-rents myself without partners, or start flipping on my own. I got one here I found not far from where I live. It's a 3-bedroomed house, but they were not renting the house, they were renting the room out for $117 each. I thought if I could turn the lounge and diner into a bedroom, that would be 5, so that's 3.
That's your profit. The
68.
5th room's your profit.
Yeah, 368 times 5 minus 500 for the bills. That'd leave me 800 profit and 40 for the landlord's rent. Now that's £60 less than what he was asking anyway, but after the estate agent's fees, that's probably what he would have got anyway.
Yeah.
So,
So that potentially is your first rent-to-rent deal.
yeah. Like I say, because I'd probably have to start with my brother or another third party, I'd probably have to split that 800 down the middle for a few months. But hopefully, start getting one.
You keep using the word hopefully.
I know. Well, that's the plan. That is what's happening. I'll find other ones in the meantime. Try and build my cash pot up until the point where I'm not.
Try and build your.
Once the cash pot is built up enough so that I don't have to find JV partners.
Okay, and define the number that you want in there. No, you need to.
What number, sorry?
The cash amount, not build up my cash pot.
Well, no, I'd like to
is a
get the
bit-
cash pot at least up to about 3,000
Okay.
in the first 3 months, and then in 12 months' time, probably get that up to maybe 50, not 50 a month, but I'd have 50k in the cash pot, say,
Okay.
and then try to do the ventures myself.
Okay, all right. You can start doing that around about 20.
Right.
If you're marketing for deals and you're able to JV with the sellers, then 20 grand is enough to do it.
Right. Well, once I'd got that 20 grand, then I'd still try and keep looking for deals where I could use JV partners just to try and get the rapport.
Yeah, of course. You
everything.
keep the whole thing.
Not
all,
just keep within that radius of my address, other places and that.
Your biggest asset is you've got 2 to 3 days a week.
Yeah, well, I'm sort of in between jobs at the minute. I'm getting the odd 2-3 days here. I might be
Okay.
doing a week or two, but then I might be without work for a week or so. So I could, between the 2-3 days, anything up to a week, I could try and allocate to this,
Okay.
or will allocate to this.
Yeah, and I understand where the words are coming from because you don't know on a week-to-week basis.
No.
Because you're grabbing work as and when you get it.
But I'd try and use whatever time that I'd got, evenings, days, weekends, to network and try and to source money for these.
Okay.
And then in 12 months' time, not have anybody I could find my own and do it all myself.
You're probably one of the people I can help the most.
Well, I did put down here as well, there's other things as your mentor or partnership as well, trying to sort that out.
Okay.
But it's getting that initial, 500 or whatever a month to start. That's where I'm going to probably struggle, or that is where I'd, after a couple of months.
Yeah, and one rent-to-rent deal will put that straight.
Yeah, and then hopefully, and then I'd get that, apply for the mentorship, and if I could, and when I find a deal, I've got the third bloke's name. Tony, yeah. I try and find a property that I could probably title split.
Cool. Okay, thank you.
I just did it. That's why I wasn't this morning. I got information about probate property in Crown Hill. Beds, the smell of peace.
You mean if it stinks of where you think of me? Right, do you want to do the numbers on the deal?
130.
So it's a
two-bed.
two-bed bungalow or
No.
house? Okay. What town?
Milton Keynes.
In Milton Keynes, okay. So it's a two-bed in MK, yep.
130.
Is that the end price or the...
That's the asking price.
That's the price they're asking
In
for.
the
Okay.
condition it
Okay,
is.
so what you want to do? Flip it.
Either flip it or rent it.
Okay.
Or let
So let's have a look to flip it. What is the price when it's done up that you can sell it for?
I would say 170.
170 done up. Okay. So 170 done up. What's the cost to do it up?
10.
10 grand to do it up. So kind of need to be around about that price. So you're not far off the price, are you? Yeah, 125 means you're not paying stamp duty on it. Over 125, if you end up negotiating 127, you can do 125 plus 2 grand chattels, which is the carpets,
Yeah,
curtains,
well.
soft furnishing. So that 5 grand is probably too much to get away with for chattels. Okay, whereabouts is it? Because I know
Crown Hill.
Crown Hill. So yeah, it will sell for that at 2 bed.
So this is one option. The other option is to let it, which is 750 a month.
It's a 2 bed, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can refinance it back at that price. What's 75% of 170? What calculator? $170 times 75%. So 127.5. So yeah, if you refinance it in 6 months' time at 170, you can pull all your money back out. No, you can pull all your money out. I'm competing with talking phones now. Women and phones. Okay. So, has anyone seen a certain television show with little creatures that sit up in the balcony? Do you remember that? But what are they called? It's the Muppets, yeah, we know that.
The question is, what is, in your view, better, flip or let?
I don't know your position. What do you want cash flow every month?
5, I said initially.
Okay, and what have you got at the moment?
2.5.
Okay, so if you need to build up towards that, this will give you another 300 a month towards that?
400.
Yeah. So if you have the money, so what will happen when you refinance this in 6 months' time, you'll retain your working capital part, but you'll have added £200-300 a month to your cash flow. You see, it's about having that cash flow that you want, and you build a portfolio around your end result. You always start with the end in mind. So you've asked lots of questions about where you are and what's happening, starting with the end in mind. If your number one aim is to have a 5 grand a month cash flow, you have to ask yourself, what do I need to do to get a 5-month cash flow? And then it's all about cash recycling so that you retain your working capital pot. That way you're not too worried if there's an interest rate rise, because you've got a big chunk of cash that you can keep working with. So you buy that, 6 months' time, you refinance it, and it'll make £300 a month. Okay? And very soon you'll have enough that will pay you 5 grand a month.
Can I ask a question?
Of course you can.
You said yesterday that for property we gain £200. That's not my experience. How did you get to this figure based on what interest mortgage on mortgage?
Right, what is your experience?
My experience is at least £400.
Okay. So, is that leaving cash in to deals?
Pardon?
Is that refinancing?
No. Not refinance. Mortgage.
Yeah, but that's leaving money in. So look, let's look at 170,000. Okay. If in 6 months' time, if you buy this cash now, okay, and refinance it in 6 months' time, the mortgage they'll value it at 170 times 75%. They'll lend you 127,500. Okay. Now that's going to be at about 4.5% interest, yeah?
Okay.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, which divided by 12 is 478. Okay, so that's 478 the mortgage will cost you. So the property will rent out 750. So if the property rents at 750, okay, and your mortgage is 478, you're going to have insurance to pay as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
So let's call that 500,
How
including.
much is insurance? 100.
It's about £20 a month per property.
140 a year.
It's about £20 a month per property for insurance, for decent insurance, one that pays out when you want it to pay out. You can get cheap insurances, but we've had nightmares with them.
I do insurance that deals with the residential landlord association.
Yeah, okay, but
140.
yeah, but that's £20 a month.
No, it's not. It's less.
Yeah, it's about
It's
£18
£10,
a month.
£12 a month. Okay, but it's a small money.
Okay. All right, look, what I'm going to do is rounding this up. 750 it's renting for, and the mortgage is 478. Okay? At 4.5%, the mortgage on that, so you can borrow 100% of your money back. So that comes to 500. That will leave you 250 per month.
My reality is not like that.
Okay, explain how your deal works.
Okay, a house, say I bought 150.
Yeah, you're buying this at 130.
I'm not talking about this one.
Okay.
I didn't buy it yet.
Okay.
150.
Yeah.
Put down 50.
Yeah.
Mortgage on 100,000.
Yeah.
238.
Yeah, but you need to refinance to get your money back out. Otherwise, you will swap in 50 grand for a couple £100 a month. So yeah, you could buy that, and you could leave the 20 odd grand deposit in it when you buy at 130 and not refinance it, in which case it will make more cash flow. But how many of them properties can you buy like that without running out of money?
Enough to reach to my 5,000 goal.
Okay, so if you have a big cash pot, then yes, you could do that. Okay, it's all about the best way to the end. Yeah, and if your target is the end and you've got enough cash that you can actually just put cash into all these deals, and the cash goes in the deals, and you're swapping 30 grands for £400 a month, because that's in reality what's happening, isn't it? So, to recap, I prefer to keep a big working capital pot, okay, so that I can continually buy and sell properties whenever I see them. And if I've still got a nice big pot that will still allow me to do that after I've bought, so you've got how much cash flow at the moment?
100,000, 110.
No, per month, cash flow.
2.5.
So you want another 2,500 cash flow, which if I divide that by £400 per property, you need another 6 properties. Okay? If you're happy to swap 6 times 30,000, which is 180,000, if you're happy to swap 180,000 for that extra cash flow that you need to bring you up to 5 grand, that's fine. If you then leave, if you're providing you've got enough cash to have your 100 grand pot left, so as long as you've got 280, 300 grand, that's fine. If you haven't got 300 grand, then you need to recycle some of them. Okay? And I know your biggest challenge in your head is interest rates going up.
Yes.
But if interest...
I didn't get the answer yet.
Pardon?
I didn't get the answer.
No, my crystal ball is a bit furry about when interest rates are going to go. It's a bit cloudy. Okay? If you've got a big enough working capital pot, that's fine. If you hit a problem, because interest rates went up, you may need to start looking at multi-letting some of the properties, but rents will go up. Okay? The other landlords will have to put their prices up if interest rates go up. Okay? Now, if we look at the big picture, And as sort of quite a financial person, you've got quite a background into. Do you want to share that with people, your financial background?
I qualified as an accountant many years ago, working for a bank. I worked in the insurance sector. I worked in the legal sector as well. I look at big picture projects, strategic projects, and how macroeconomics works on what we're doing. In terms of your problem, I would...
Challenge.
Challenge, yes, sorry, that's a better way of phrasing it, thank you. In terms of your challenge, I see you as taking on risk of void periods when you could put the money in a building society and earn not too dissimilar in terms of income. My son achieves 6.5% depositing cash in banks. He's smart. So you're taking on risk with your own money but not achieving a financial return, is how I would see that. Is that your...
Well, if you're swapping that amount of cash,
Yeah.
that's fine if you've got a big capital pot, and if you want to add to your income and do a few flips, and it's so much easier to do flips if you've got that cash pot. So I wouldn't be swapping up that cash pot. I would recycle that cash, make £250 a month instead of £400 a month, and get my 30 grand back out so that I've retained the cash. Okay? And do it like that, so I never run, and I keep my big working capital pot, which will allow me to do so much more. Okay, it's very hard to build up a cash pot of over 200 or 300 grand. So to achieve that, it's very, very good. But you need to hang on to the pot to maximise. You can do, with that money, you could just flip that and make yourself 20 grand. Because you've got that cash pot, it's easy to do. You'll make more than that because you haven't got finance costs. You'll probably make like 25, 28 grand on that flip. Okay? It's all about the end in mind. And if your end is to have a yacht, what's the cost of your yacht you're on? What's your budget for it?
I didn't make research to this question. I didn't research it yet.
Okay, what do you feel it might cost?
$1 million?
Okay, so if your target is to buy £1 million yacht, okay, because that is your dream, that is your why, if that's your absolute why, then you need to use the best strategy to get you to that pot as possible. You know, to get you to that position. And borrowing money on a boat is much dearer than borrowing money on a car. It's 9-10% interest. Okay? And then you've got the mooring cost and the maintenance cost of a boat. Most people, they say about boats that the two best days of owning a boat are the day you buy it and the day you sell it. Yeah? So have you ever rented a boat?
I have cousins with a boat.
Okay, so you've experienced the boat experience.
The buzz.
The buzz. Okay. How badly do you want it?
Pardon?
How badly do you want this boat?
I can always go to my cousin.
Okay, so you don't really want it very badly.
No, I'm not desperate. I'm quite happy.
So it's all about our why, isn't it? It's all about what we want and how badly we want it. And why do you want a £5 grand cash flow?
That's a minimum to maintain my standard of living.
Okay, so you're only halfway there at the moment. So you're eating into your capital pot in order to maintain your standard of living.
I'm eating into? In what sense?
If you've only got 2.5 grand a month cash flow, and your
properties,
yeah, and your expenditure is 5 grand a month, you have
my
other income.
expenditure, I have other earning,
Okay,
but from properties I have 2.5.
okay, and you want that to be what?
5.
Okay, so if you want that to be 5, how bad do you want that?
I want it.
Okay, and how bad do you want to keep your capital pot?
It's not that important to me to keep the capital
Okay,
as long
then
as
it's perfectly all right to swap your pot for cash flow, and you'll get the capital appreciation as well. So that's, I totally get that. Okay, it's about the end in mind, what you're aiming at, and you don't really want the boat that bad. So therefore, you know, you're not really going for it. Pardon?
Could be nice.
Well, that's the thing. While it's nice, it will never happen.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you rent one for 2 weeks a year, tick the box.
Yeah, cheaper.
Yeah, it is. And there's an saying about that, whether it flies or floats or something else, rent it. Which a few people obviously know because you're grinning. But yeah, if that isn't that important to you, that isn't that important. So rent a boat. How much will that cost you? 20 grand for a couple of weeks. Okay, so flip one property a year out of the cash you've got, and you can go on your holiday on your boat for 2 weeks a year, and that's far cheaper than owning it. But it's about how badly you want stuff. It's about that burn in there, isn't it? And if that burn's there, you'll do what it takes. And if the burn's not there, you won't. But that deal's okay, them numbers are okay.
Yeah. And for sleeping.
And
You
either,
recommend.
you have a choice, yeah.
And for sleeping rather than letting.
It works for both. That will give you 25 grand profit.
My approach has been a bit scattergun. I was the person you were talking about who had the deposits for the 4, 5, maybe HMOs, start them up, and then run out that capital.
Okay.
Again,
It's not so bad when it comes to HMOs, because the cash flow isn't £200 a month, it's £500 or £600 a month.
Yeah.
Possibly a little bit more.
But lucky enough that I've spoken to some great people that have been in here, and what I'm going to do is start with a pot, as you say, is just, plus 100k, but start flipping properties. And
what area are you going to do that in?
Well, I'm looking at East Anglia, Suffolk, and North Essex, Cambridgeshire.
Okay.
I'm looking to do one, I think, to begin with, and probably the first 4 to 5 months.
Okay.
It's just to cut your teeth a bit, I think, as well with it.
Yep.
And then after that, build that up.
So test the water, make sure it's safe.
Then look to do at least 4 or 5 projects by sort of the middle of next year.
Okay.
Also got quite a good equity in a property that's going to give me an opportunity to look for title splitting or some other type of project in Cambridge, because I like the area, and again,
what's probably a good idea, because as part of the mentorship you get that box set over there, which is a thing we called From Investor to Developer, but that's title splitting. That's got details and plans of 4 deals, 3 of them of which I made 400 grand on. I'll be going through my title splitting process tomorrow, on Sunday. But we do run a day where we take you out to them. Okay, when you go out and see them and see the types of properties you can do it to, it opens up your eyes. And I kind of share with you the secrets of what we do. Andrew came with us the other day, and no matter what level you're on, it's an eye opener. There'll be some stuff that we cover that you wouldn't have ever thought of.
It was a very enlightening day. It helps you look at property in a completely different way. I approached last night's project using some of that information, and actually found 2 potential targets that I'm doing a drive-by on tonight on the way home.
Which you never would have seen if you hadn't been on that day.
Yeah. And the potential revenue on an exceptionally conservative basis would be 200k. I think it'll be nearer 350.
So, worthwhile coming on a day.
enjoyable day in Glenn's company. A beautiful lunch, thank you. And very, very educational.
For that title splitting day, we charge £500 if you're on our mentorship programme, or £997 if you're not. We've had somebody came on the deal. Does anyone? I think I mentioned yesterday. Does anyone know Cyril from Essex Property Meet? He came on the day and he went back and did a deal we wasn't going to do, and ended up making 80 grand out of it. And somebody else on that same day went and back on a deal that they'd missed and made 120 grand on it. So it's opens up your eyes to potential properties. I'll take you to a Victorian property that we're splitting in two, and to a lot of other properties that we're splitting in two. In fact, I think your mum you come up with a couple of your properties with stuff that you'd missed.
You know, having a corner plot and then realising that after having it for 8-9 years, there's room to build on the end of it, and the beauty of it, there's parking spaces right next to.
But you don't know what you don't know.
What I am going to do is, after 2 years, go from the title split into a bit of new build projects, but like bigger new build projects, and take it from there really.
Okay, cool. Ian, do you want to share with us your thing, and then we'll break for coffee after that?
Sure, yeah. I want to do big houses in Eastbourne.
Pardon? Would you like to say that again?
I'm going to do big
Thank
houses.
You.
In fact, I am doing big houses. I am. So next.
See the trouble he causes me?
I know.
I'm going to show your video again.
So yeah, I am finishing the stuff that you said I should finish before I take on new stuff. I am finishing that stuff.
Yeah, sometimes you can take on too much. And if you don't do... There's a story that I'd love, if anyone can recognise this film, I'd love you to tell me what the title is. But basically there was, and I think it was Cowboys or Confederate Army or whatever, or Union Army, that were travelling and wiping out the Indian villages. And they did a few, and they kind of all walked out, and it was very easy. And they got very cocky, very complacent. Said, okay, well look, there's 100 more villages to do, let's split it into 100 groups, or sorry, 50 groups, and we'll all go off and do it on our own. And they all went off and they all got killed. Because none of them were powerful enough in small groups to do it. And you can very much spread your time too thin in that way. So if anyone ever does remember what that film is, please let me know, because I watched that when I was about 12. And I'd love to know the title of it. But it's very important to focus on what you're doing, because if you're not doing what you are doing properly, because you haven't got the time to do it properly, then you're taking on too much, or you haven't got the right staff.
Glenn gave me a very good reflection in December that I can go off a bit like a firework display, and it's all good for a while, and then everything falls to the ground. So I'm focusing on completing stuff. And I am opening up a day a week now. It's the right time to look at deals. Marketing is where it's at. What else is happening? Big houses in Eastbourne.
With a view to do what?
HMOs.
Okay.
Big HMOs that don't need too much legislation on
10 grand cash flow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is exactly what this one I'm closing will net when I finish.
But once you've done that, you can go buy them at 800, 900 grand, convert them. Guest houses are absolutely brilliant for that, because guest houses have already got all of the legislation in. They've already got the fire doors, they've already got the alarms in, they've got everything. Okay? So what we've done, we found a guest house in Wisbeach. Okay, somebody on the partnership program come up with it's a 12 bed. They can't rent all the rooms. It's a 12 bed guest house. Okay, and it was on the market, and we offered 216 for the property. Sorry, 219 for the property. Okay, it's on the market at 219. So what we said is we'll give you £1 for the option to buy it at 219, subject to us getting change of use to an HMO. And the bloke said fine, because he wasn't getting anyone offering the money as a guest house, because guest houses aren't that profitable. So we paid out £1. Then the next step was to submit a planning application, which cost us £300 for the planning application, and we got our change of use. Okay. So now we've got change of use. We've just had a survey done on it, which has cost us £700. Now it took us ages to find the right surveyor. And Ashley, who's on the partnership program, rang me after about 15 different surveyors, saying, Glenn, there's no one going to do this. There's no one doing it like this. Well, I was going to tell you what it is, but we needed it to do. Okay. We wanted a surveyor who would value at 10 times cash flow, 8 times cash flow, but 8 times 100% of cash flow. Most surveyors would value at 8 times of 80% of cash flow. Okay, that's how they would value, not for bricks and mortar valuation, but as a business valuation.
We mean gross rents, don't we?
For gross rents, yeah, cash flow, gross rent. Okay, so we've just had a valuation done on this at 320k. Okay, which means that we're going to sell this with the valuation of 320 to someone for 320 with maybe we'll give them 20 grand cash back, or maybe we'll just sell it to them for 300. Okay, and we're just about to start marketing it because we've had a RICS valuation out of that value. Okay, and the cash flow is very, very good on it. To do that deal, how much money have I put into it, and how much money will I make from it?
£1,001.
Yes.
£100,000, almost.
Yes.
It's a good
Who would swap £1,001 for £100 grand profit?
Yeah.
Is that like shrewd, the word, investing? He was the 62nd surveyor that we phoned, and now we know how to get him 100% of the time. Because what we actually do, we actually get a valuation done by him, and because Lloyd's TSB he's on their panel, if we go to Lloyd's TSB and say, look, we've just had this property valued, will you finance it for us? They'll go, okay, and we'll do a retype of that valuation. Okay. If you just went to them and asked them to buy somewhere, they would send a surveyor out, any surveyor, and they'll probably come back and value it at 220, 230. Okay, so it's so important to understand this, and anyone on our mentoring program will be able to use this surveyor. Now we've got another deal there that she found that we're buying from within itself for 600 grand land deal. With potentially £3 million profit in it. £3 million value, that when we've paid the 600 is over £2 million profit. And we've paid £1 for it. The idea is that if you want something like a Ferrari or a Rolls Royce or anything like that, whatever it is, or a boat, you create an income from some properties. Has anyone read Rich Dad Poor Dad? It's what it says. He calls Ferraris and Lamborghinis and boats doodads. He said, don't ever spend money on a doodad, create an investment to pay for it. So spend your money in creating the investment and then use the profit from the investment to pay for it. So if I want something, I've got 3 HMOs that pay for my Ferrari. And I've got 2 more payments to pay on my Ferrari, and then it's all mine. And I've still got £3 grand a month coming in from my 3 HMOs that I bought to fund the car. So I've got 2 choices. I either have an extra £3 grand a month cash flow and put up with it, or go buy another car. But that's how I work in my head when I want something like that. So you could buy yourself some investments that pay for the boat.
Good question. I did a search for houses under 160, nothing in the southeast. Hastings used to make that grade. Now it's 200 to get 100 properties.
Yeah.
Is there still flipping potential and owning potential in that town?
We've got 3 deals going on at the moment in Hastings, although one of them's a commercial deal. It's a dentist that we're buying the lease because the dentist have moved and their contract's come to the end, and it's got quite a lot of bedrooms which will make quite a lot of profit. And basically they said, well, you can have it and turn it into a HMO if you want, as long as you take it for 10 years. Like normally we're trying to talk landlords into doing longer, as long as you take it for at least 10 years. There's about £2,000 a month cash flow in that. Phil's doing that one. Phil's working in Hastings.
Okay.
So we've got 2 other deals going through as well.
Okay.
So it does work down there. One's definitely a ramshack bungalow, but it's got potential to build another one in the garden, and that's just that. It's what's the coast road just up the road from Hastings?
Pet level?
No,
Right.
lots of bungalows.
Fairlight?
No,
From Hastings?
near Hastings. It's probably about 10 miles from Hastings.
Rye, Fairlight?
Right, it's in Rye. Has anyone seen a picture of me up that ladder on the scaffolding? Anyone seen that on the Rightmove? On Facebook. Well, that was walking along the coast, and what they've done is they're buying bungalows and turning them into proper houses, but with higher rooms, so that they get sea views from the top, because the bungalows haven't got sea views, so you can see over the top, and that adds 20 to 30% value to them. And it's so important that you know what market to do what in, because around there, if you can get a sea view by going up, and a seafront property in most towns, seafront are probably 30 to 50% dearer than non-sea facing, non-seafront properties. What's the one we did through Creative? We did in Brighton, where it was on the market for ages and ages and ages and wasn't selling. And it wasn't selling at 280, and we sold it for 380.
The flat?
Yes. That had a sideways sea view, didn't it?
That's it. Yeah. I'm trying to remember the deal now.
It had been on the market probably for 2 years.
Been on the market for 2 years. Family had kids in it, had no space, desperate to get out, but they had good financial means. No one had been able to sold it. All the big agents had been in there. I went in there and was basically, what did I say to them? I said, I can sell it for you, but you've got to fund a refurb. I'll manage it for you and I'll sell it. So it was unsold at 320 for 2 years. I went in and sold it for them in 2 weeks to a cash buyer at 455. Were they happy? And as an agent, I charged them 2% fee for that service.
And that's all because the house was cluttered, and anybody that wanted to buy it, because we knew it was going to be a London buyer buying it for a weekend because it had a side sea view, and Ian was saying that there's some that sell for 400 and this is not selling at this, I don't get it. So it's just a matter of making it look like a show house.
I just got my Channel 4 house doctor lady in, and she did a number on it, and that was it. And they wrote the cheque for the refurb.
So we ended up getting the money for the estate agency fee. Because the other thing is, because we've got an estate agency, when you get properties that we're through our partnership program that you want to sell, you just put them on the market through that, and we don't have agents fees either.
So that was 10 grand for a few phone calls.
Okay, let's break for coffee now, and then we'll come back in 15 minutes. Okay, Richard.
So, I don't have a business plan with me, having not attended yesterday. But
do we allow that? Do we allow him to get away?
Well, let me finish. Okay. To be fair, I wrote one 3 months ago in January. So why don't I bring that in tomorrow, and we'll see if I've actually done anything.
Good idea. You've been with us for a couple of months now, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been a great couple of months. For those of you that haven't signed up for the mentorship yet, the webinars are extremely helpful. They do accelerate things enormously. And the contacts you make, the people that you meet when you come here, also.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, because you've been hovering around us for a little while, how hard would you like me to kick you?
I'd like you to kick me really hard.
Okay, well, use the mic. Okay, use the mic properly.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, I have been here for a little while, and admittedly I haven't done as much as I should. No, I know that. So now
So how much time are you allocating to your property business?
I can do 2 and 3 days. 2 or 3 days.
You can you?
I can.
So,
would you mind if I...
how many
do 2 or 3
days? How many days are you going to spend on your property business? Because can does not wash with me.
Okay, I will do 2 days a week.
And what 2 days are they?
They'll be Thursday and Friday.
Okay, and what actions are you going to be taking on them 2 days?
Firstly, I've written here, so the first month I'll be researching, but then,
do you mean you're going to spend more time getting ready to get ready?
No. Right, so, yeah, the first month is obviously in weeks basis. So the first week would be finding out, ringing agents, things like that. Then the second week...
Finding out what specifically?
Finding out...
What strategy are you going to be operating?
Rents in Northampton.
So you're going to be doing rents in Northampton?
Yes.
What research do you want to do?
Research as in I know what types of property there are.
Yes.
So where they are.
Do you know what list of areas in Northampton are Article 4?
I know some.
Okay, look on their website,
Yeah.
Northampton's council, and they list them all.
Yeah, I've been there. I've got the outline of the city.
So that's 5 minutes.
Article 4.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Okay, so what else do you need to research before you start?
Which are the best agents to deal with?
The small ones.
The independent ones.
Yes, so what's the next question that you need to research?
I think it's just talking to you a lot, really.
You get to do that regularly.
Yeah, this is... Put me in a bit
So
of
what
an
day are
position.
you going round the estate agents, and are you going to send a rent-to-rent email out tomorrow when we send the emails out?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And in that email you're going to add, and I'll be in Northampton on Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay. So where do you get a list of them from?
Of?
Estate agents in Northampton. So on Thursday and Friday you're going to Northampton?
Yeah.
And what are you going to say to them?
I have no idea. I'm terrified now.
Oh no, I can see that. That's why you've been thinking about
Yeah,
doing
it
it and
is,
thinking
it is.
about doing it for ages.
Yeah.
Why would an estate agent who's 19-year-old bite your head off?
Because they obviously know a lot more than I do.
No, they don't.
Do they not?
No, I bet they haven't got parents who own lots of properties.
Fair enough.
They haven't done this course. They haven't got a clue. So they're nothing to worry about. So what's your problem?
There's still the niggle in the back of their head.
What is the niggle?
It's just that... You think you're not
Okay,
good
let's
enough to
get
go do
out.
something.
Let's get. Right, pardon my French. Right. What's the worst thing that can happen? I'm the estate agent. Pull your chair up.
What's the water?
Yeah. Cheers.
What's the absolute worst thing that can happen? So you walk into the estate agency. Sorry, you can come a bit closer. I don't buy.
It's not
Hi, yes. How can I help you?
I'm going to research this a little bit, mate, so bear with me.
So what are you looking for?
I'm looking for 5 beds, 3 reception rooms.
Why?
Right, so I can multi that.
Don't understand.
Don't understand. Okay, so I'm looking for landlords who have 5-bed properties with a few reception rooms, between 2 and 3.
Okay, what for?
I can.
What for?
I can arrange a contract with them to guarantee them rent. So then
that's
I can
what we do.
manage it. Okay.
I know. What's the absolute worst thing anyone can do?
Just say no.
Okay.
No, we don't have.
You're wasting my time. Fuck off. Do you think anyone's going to say that?
No.
Do you think anyone's going to be
We
like
don't
that?
have anything at the moment.
You're wasting my time. Fuck off. You're wasting my time. Fuck off. Right, now you won't ever hear that again. So what's your problem? So now what's your problem?
Lack of experience.
Okay, I get that. Okay, so should we change it the other way around? Would you like to be the estate agent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You can tell me, yeah. Okay. If you feel like the need, because I'm not saying the right things, then please feel free to tell me where to go.
Okay.
Okay? It's a great experience being told where to go, because all of a sudden you realise it doesn't really matter. Okay? It doesn't matter if someone shouts at you, does it? It doesn't matter if someone thinks that I'm an idiot. Yeah? 99% of the time I'm a far richer idiot than what they are. So it gives us stuff. Okay. It's nice to meet you. You have my email.
Yes.
My parents are building a property in this area.
Okay.
And they have 5 or 6 Polish builders they need to put into the house.
Right.
Do you have a property suitable to rent out to my parents for the Polish builders?
I can certainly have a look.
How does that sound?
Sounds a lot better.
No.
Can you practice that? Can you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, now do it to me.
Okay. Hi. You got my email? I'm still...
Yes, yeah.
Okay. I'm looking for property because my parents are building in the area.
Okay, whereabouts are they building?
They're building in Sunnyside.
So you'll need to know that because they might ask that question. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Sunnyside is an area.
Okay, fine, okay.
Yeah, and we're building in the area, and we need to have some Polish tenants while they're doing work.
Polish builders?
Polish builders.
They're not tenants?
Polish builders, sorry.
Okay, so use the right language.
Yeah, so looking to house some Polish builders while they're working on the house. Do you have
Okay.
anything suitable?
So they're looking at subletting it? I'm being sort of, they will say that to you when you do let to let, rent to rent stuff. No, actually, we're not subletting. We actually just want the property. The parents want to rent it for their builders.
Okay.
Yes, I realise that you probably need to have HMO regulations in the property because there's different families living in there. Do you have anything suitable? Is that hard?
No, not at all.
It's very unknown, isn't it? It's like if you don't know what you don't know, you don't know what to say. If you don't know what to say, you don't know what to say. So you go with it.
Try and justify something.
Write it down and rehearse it.
Write it down and rehearse it, yeah.
Okay, can I ask a question? If you're not comfortable in spinning a story like that,
Yeah.
how would you approach that situation?
Find something that you are comfortable with talking about. The minute you start talking about subletting, the agents will say no.
You could say you're a pastor.
Hang on.
No, my issue is that I can't tell lies.
I
like
understand,
that. Yeah. So I'm trying to ascertain what other way is there to get into that scenario.
Okay, would you like to JV with me?
So he does the lies.
Okay. Look, I've got some builders that I need to go into whatever area it is you want.
Yeah.
Because I'm building the house. Could you find me something, please?
Yeah.
Yeah. Your business partner is looking for something.
Yeah.
He tells me he needs it for builders.
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. So you can third party it.
Okay.
You can always play good cop, bad cop in any situation. Does that feel more comfortable?
If that was a genuine thing that you were doing, yes. Otherwise, I would be just.
I have got houses I'm building everywhere.
Okay.
If you can find me a plot where I can build and put some Polish builders in, then that's the case.
Yeah.
If, of course, it goes wrong and I have to do something else with the property because I'm committed to it for all that time, then I may have to do that. So you need to find me somewhere to build in that area, and yes, I will definitely put Polish builders in. If you can't find me somewhere, then I'll have to do something else. Okay? How does that sound?
That sounds all right.
once you source the property that's available, so the 5-bed that he was looking for, you then just liaise directly with the landlord.
Not very often. You're actually dealing with the letting agent if you're going to letting agents. Okay, they don't normally put you in touch with the landlord. They might, in order that you can negotiate who does the boiler servicing and all the things you need to negotiate.
Right.
Okay, what we do on the monthly mastermind is we do about half an hour chat on rent to rent and everybody's experiences, because everyone's out trying to find them. So they're sharing the feedback of where they've hit challenges.
But if you said to that same letting agency that you're not going to sublet, and then you're dealing with them and you are going to sublet.
I've never said I'm not going to sublet. What I've said is I want it for Polish builders.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, that's what I've said.
Just pick your words carefully.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they're not asking. They don't ask that question.
And thereafter, how you reveal that actually you're going to sublet?
Thereafter.
Thereafter,
Revealed to who?
to the estate agent, he wants his commission.
Yeah, I know. As long as I'm paying my rent, is he going to come and ask who I'm letting the rooms to? I've actually got a property in Northampton that's got a plot on the side that I'm going to build, and I'm going to have some Polish builders up there. So I actually need it for Polish builders. If the planning permission doesn't come through, I'm going to have to do something with it. So if I had to go to the people and say, look, my planning permission's fallen through, I've committed to this property, if the landlord doesn't want it back, I'm going to need to rent it out, is that all right? You can say that and offer it back to them if you want. They're going to not want, they'll probably say, no, you've got a year contract with us. You know, you can take a year contract because that's how long it takes to build a house. They can say, if this is the what-if conversations. Okay, what-if conversations, yeah, thank you. There are millions of what-ifs.
It's just a subtle point there in the sense that you've secured the property for your builders, and you got it for a year's contract. Then your issue with the builders
the landlord knows that there's going to be, that it needs to be HMO spec, because the builders are all from different families.
Yeah. And then you've got your contract for a year, circumstances have changed. Are they in a position to say to you, well, okay, you're stuck with a contract for a year?
Which is great, isn't it? That's what we want to happen.
But you can't multi-let or sublet. Could they possibly do that?
No, because you've told them you want to let your builders have the rooms. Well, I'm actually going to be charging my builders for the rooms. So if you actually said that you can't sublet, you go, no, stupid, I was going to sublet anyway. I was going to be building, I was going to be renting the rooms to the builders. They were going to pay me. I wasn't giving it to them for free. Look, there's thousands of scenarios you'll be confronted with, and whatever comes up, you bring it to the webinar, we'll get you around it. Of course I'll tell the landlord that it's for Polish builders, and I'll tell the landlord that the building contract isn't going ahead. Would you like it back, or is it all right if I rent the rooms out? If I'm renting the rooms out, the landlord isn't going to care who I'm renting it to.
Okay.
My accountant has come to me and said, Glenn, I'm moving out of my house. I understand the house would normally rent for £1,000. If you give me 1,100 quid, you can multi-let it if you want, and that will make me £800 a month profit. It will be a bit more hassle, but not for me, for my lettings team. You can go on to Gumtree. You can tell people that you're looking for properties. I mean, Ian, you had an idea about something that's pastoral related. But okay, how's this?
There are scenarios that do occur with our church.
Yes, where
there's a team of people coming in and they need to be housed.
Okay, would you be comfortable asking for that?
Well, absolutely.
Well then.
Yeah. But they don't always come up all the time. That's the issue. Yeah, but they do from time to time.
Yes. So the next time they do, go out.
So I'm quite happy to advertise to the pastors, across the nation, that if you find yourself in this situation, call them.
Yeah, which is fine. Because you can go on Gumtree and say, if you've got a property in this area and you're struggling to rent it, I'll rent it if you're happy for me to work it the way I need to work it. Please contact me for details. And then you're direct to landlord and you haven't got that challenge about subletting. It's how to get round the block with agents who don't like subletting, because that kind of negates the need for them to be there.
They shouldn't be bothered because they're getting their fee anyway.
That as long as they're getting paid, and as long as you can put your hand on the heart and say the property will come back in the same condition, because we're not going to leave them with a trashed house, which some tenants might. You know, we know our own integrity. We know that although, you know, we're not quite saying exactly what might be happening, we know that we're never going to do any damage to the landlord. We know we're never going to leave them with something that, you know, that is going to cost them money. Yeah, from my perspective, if I can say 100% that they're not going to lose out because of what I'm doing, then what's the issue?
How about licensing?
When it needs licensing, you'll need to license it.
So it's on your head.
Yeah,
the
well,
licensing.
no, it's down to the negotiation with you and the landlord or the letting agents. Look, it's a 3-storey property, I need to put these builders in. There's 5 of them, it will need licensing. I will take this property for a year, but will you licensing it, please?
It might cost him a lot of money to
Yeah,
license
and it might be that it needs to be licensed for 3 years. And look, and I'm more than happy to keep the house on for another 2 years after if you want, because I'll probably have other projects anyway. It's a negotiation. Or look, I'll pay half of it, or whatever.
How much does it cost roughly to convert a 5-bedroom to be in the standard of to be licensed?
About 8 to 10 grand. Ask Ian, is the expert on the HMOs, he's got loads of them.
Depends what they insist on, but you're going to need fire doors, fire alarm, you
Directional change, lights, emergency lighting.
Emergency lights, fire resistance for escape.
Thumb locks.
Yeah, because I'm just going through an HMO licensing project on my portfolio at the moment. But some properties, I'm doing it all at handyman rates. So if you've got Polish builders or you've got handymen, we're doing all our HMO work at £10 an hour. We're sourcing fire doors for 30 quid, intermittent seal frames for a router through the door frame, stick the seal in, hence. Fire alarms we've just sourced from India.
So look, just give us the number in.
Sorry.
5 bedrooms.
6 to 10 grand, depending how cheap your labour is.
You could do it for £1,000. You could do it for 3. You could do it for 2. It depends.
There's a big difference between 3 and 10.
There is a big difference. Fire alarms?
If it's an interlinked system with no panel, you can get the whole thing for about 300 quid and get a handyman to wire it all up. It's wireless. You just stick it into the light fitting. If it's a panel system, you're looking at 2 or 3 grand.
Okay. Emergency lighting?
Emergency lighting, those strip lights are about £9. You wire them into the light fitting.
Got a battery backup.
Battery backup, they probably need 6, so you're in about 60 quid. Get your handyman to fit it, 4 hours, you're 100 quid.
It doesn't need to be an electrician qualified to certified.
You can get an electrician to Part P certify it.
So once the job is done,
Providing he's happy with the person who does it and they work together.
We get all our electrics done by our handyman, pretty much, apart from the complicated stuff, because after that you're going to need an EICR anyway, a safety test, electrical installation condition report. So the electrician he's going to be certifying it all anyway. Job done.
So if we said 4 grand?
Max. Yeah, for a 5-bed house. Yeah.
If you're doing it how you do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
no issue about parkings?
That's a whole different question. That's not part of the cost. You either get planning.
Yeah, I know.
You either
One
get
needs
planning or
parking.
not. Yeah, but you'll either get planning or not get planning. You'll either get consent for change of use or not, and that will depend on parking.
So they do request parking.
Sometimes, yeah, it depends where the property
Milton
is.
Keynes.
Oh, yeah, you won't get one in Milton Keynes. You won't get an HMO licence in Milton Keynes.
Really?
No.
If you've got Article 4, you will need planning change of use as well as a licence, and the licence will insist on works being done to building regulations, so you get caught by the three things.
Not seen one new HMO granted in Milton Keynes for the last 2 years. Okay, council being silly. But soon it will catch up on them because the demand will be huge again.
When they'll have more people homeless on the station.
Yeah. Okay, but at the moment they're saying no. Talk to Amanda Brown. She's acts for Nick Fox quite regularly. He's got lots of them, and he's not got one through. He's got several hundred houses in Milton Keynes.
Sorry, Glenn. Would you be looking at sort of two-storey houses on this renter end, making sure that you weren't doing the 3-storey, 5 persons?
It's all about the numbers. Right. 3-storey, 30-room house, great. It's all about the numbers. See, that's relative, isn't it? A £900 licence for 3 years for something that generates 5 or 6 grand a month profit is irrelevant, isn't it? Okay. Andrew, you've changed your plan.
It's fluid. What's the point in having a fixed plan?
You should not have a fixed plan. You should always have a plan that you understand will always change as you open up to what you understand.
Totally agree. I set my business up 16 years ago with a vision of achieving something. Within 9 months I changed it.
Yep.
So, right. I've decided on a split 1-year plan. I have already reorganised my time over the last couple of weeks, initially to spend 2 half-days a week managing projects that I will be taking on, restructuring my team and looking to recruit to buy me more time in, to give me more time. In Northamptonshire, I'm going to focus on flipping. In Newcastle upon Tyne, Sunderland and Blythe areas, I'll focus on HMO sourcing.
So where do you say you're doing your flipping?
Northamptonshire.
Okay.
Yeah. Newcastle, Sunderland, Blythe, I'll focus on HMO sourcing.
Where are you based?
I'm based on the Walker Road in Newcastle upon Tyne.
Okay.
I've got staff who I've already identified will be.
Okay, why do you want to go to Northamptonshire for flipping?
Larger margins and opportunities, and it's on my doorstep.
I thought it was in. You've got 2 doorsteps.
Yeah. Well, I've got a business up in Newcastle and a business down here.
Okay, so you're backwards and forwards between the 2. Okay, fine.
And I've got 2 staff who I'm working by the end of next month to have 2 half-days of their time freed up to focus on looking for low-value, unoccupied long-term properties that we can take on, potentially use grants to bring back into occupation, potentially look at some of the other things we've spoken about. So that will be cash flow generation. Down here will be lump sum. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Last night I spent around an hour using the criterion we spoke about yesterday on the right move. I used that to identify 6 possibilities within bungalows, particularly, with a view to flipping. 2 of them I view as definite title splits, subject to planning.
So building another property on the corner plot.
Absolutely. I mean, the one of them was even kind enough to put the land registry plan up, and every house in the road is a semi-detached except this one, and putting a semi-detached on would match everything else in the road.
The fact they put that on, are they demonstrating that you can do that?
Potentially.
So they're probably charging accordingly for it?
It was at a discount to other ones in that road and that area.
Okay.
Of the same. About a 25k discount.
Okay.
Another 4 possibilities stood out, and there was one with a chair and some stains under the chair, which fits
if it stinks of wee.
Yeah. fits the criterion. Time is a little bit of an issue for me, but I'm going to create more time for me through recruitment.
You've spotted them bungalows because of the day you spent with us.
Yes, yeah. And looking at that and other comments which you've made over the last 5-6 weeks, they've all sort of formulated that as being that's the rifle shot rather than the sawn-off shotgun.
Okay.
Yeah. Cash isn't an issue. I'm going to make around $500,000 within year one. I believe I can achieve 6 to 10 flips within the first year, within the local area. If I can take 1 or 2 of those potential title splits, I'll have at least 200,000, if not 350 optimistically. And within the Newcastle area, I'd aim to have 4 to 10 HMOs in Newcastle, Sunderland, Blyth, generating a cash surplus of somewhere around £1,500, £2,000 a month.
Okay. Now, aim is a bit of a waffly word, but you've said between one number and another number, but the actual tonality of the way that Andrew's speaking is actually as if, isn't it? There's no wandering about it or wondering about it in the back of his head. He's very assertive about this is what I'm going to do, this is how it's going to happen. And when he's talking to himself, that's coming through. And for me, there's no doubt about what you're saying, that, you know, that at somewhere around the level that you're saying will be achieved. Because you've seen how, I know, that comes through in what you're saying, just the same as sometimes with people when they're saying it, they're going and kind of saying the words hoping. So language patterns and tonality are very important. And we'll talk about tonality on day 4 when we talk about negotiation. Because if somebody talks very quickly to you and you're trying to negotiate with them and you speak very you'll drive them nuts. Most married couples tend to speak at the same pace. Okay? Because you get on with people who speak at the same pace. So my sister, if I actually have a conversation with her, I find myself finishing all her sentences. And she gets annoyed. And I say, was I right or was I wrong? She goes, you're right. That is what I was going to say. Then I said, why are you getting annoyed then? Well, because I wanted to say it. Well, speak quicker then. I can't. Okay? So when you're negotiating, it's us who needs to give way and speak at the speed that the other person speaks. If it's faster than what you talk, go 3/4 of the way towards them. If they speak a lot slower than you, go 3/4 of the way towards them. Okay? Because if they speak slowly, it's because they take a while to register what you're saying. And if they take a while to register, you need to speak slower.
No, I understand you.
Good. The same as some people talk very loudly. And if you speak very softly and you're talking to the person who talks very loudly, the chances are they speak loudly because they can't hear properly. So they won't hear every word that you're saying. Okay? And some people talk very deep, and some people talk and you kind of need to meet somewhere near. Okay? But we're going to be talking about that on day 4, because that's all a very important part of negotiation. Okay. Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks. If you haven't defaulted on a credit card, but you've maxed a lot out and used a lot on them, if you clear them down, is that an immediate repair for the credit agencies in their site?
Right, they will credit score you based on the amount of credit that you use on a revolving basis. So you could use all your credit every month, pay it all off, and then use it all again.
Yeah.
and you'll still get a lower score than, you know, the 100% score. If you are paying minimum payments on a lot of credit cards, that will dramatically reduce your credit score.
Right.
Okay? And what you need to try and do is, are you actually paying interest on all of them?
Yes.
So you need to play, because that's expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, it's expensive money. So you need to try and get yourself some daylight and get hold of one card at least that you can transfer the highest interest card onto that one for a 0 interest year period, 2 year period, whatever it is.
Martin's Money Tips, excellent website.
Yes.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah. And it will take you probably a couple of years, but quicker if you're doing some deal sourcing and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Or some flips to pay that down to get your credit back up.
Yeah.
Okay. Are all your credit cards joint?
I'm not. No, not all of them.
Right. So your credit's great.
That seems to be the thing for the day, isn't it?
Right. So look, if you've got good credit and you two are working together, then you can do what you need to do in your name. Yeah, as long as you're employed, or you've got management fee coming in from managing the properties that you've got, you're highly mortgageable. Yeah, you're the one with the challenge, so use your name. And the way we've structured it with my wife and I, in case interest rates go back up, yeah, all of the properties with mortgages are in her name, and all the properties that we have got without mortgages are in my name. Okay, which is great, because if the worst happened and interest rates went right up and she lost her portfolio, or our portfolio, I could very easily go and build another one, because the market would be in such a mess that I could just go and clean up. Okay, so we keep a lot of our finances separate. So her credit cards that she uses are in her name, and my credit cards are in my name. We keep the two sets because we understand that we've got lots of different businesses. We've got about 5 businesses each, of which I'm director of one and she's director of the others. We don't go on as joint because we don't want the house of cards. Yeah, and another thing, I had an opportunity to speak to a billionaire about 15 years ago, and I said to him, well, if you could give me one tip in business, what would it be? And he said, never ever, if you've got 3 businesses, have 3 businesses with the same bank, have the 3 businesses with the 3 different banks. Because if ever one of your businesses gets into trouble, the bank will not back any of them. The chances are if one of your businesses gets in trouble and you're with 3 different banks, you can raise funds through the ones that are doing good and pay the money that's needed on the one that's not doing so good. So keep 3 different banks. So you could set up in a different bank account a lettings management company, which you can then pay yourself through, so that you've got an income, so you can get mortgages, so you can do flips or do whatever you need. Does that make sense? And then you can use the money you're making to pay your credit cards down, because the idea is to get all your credit cards onto a 0 interest, so that they're out of the way. And when you pay 100% of your credit cards off every month, then your credit rating goes up in the 900s. So, you know, see if you can get some credit cards that have got balance transfers on. Transfer the highest interest paying one across to the 0 balance one and get that one paid off. Rip it up. Yeah, you don't want the high interest ones, you want to rip them up. And work the system, and like said, use Martin's Money Tips, because he has lots of ideas on how to manipulate your credit cards and use the best ones available, so that you can, for the minimum amount of money, pay them down as fast as possible.
Is that the same as Money Saving Expert, or is that different?
Yeah, there's another one, Motley Fool, that's now full, that's got lots of different credit card deals on. Or on Experian or Equifax, you can say, find a card that matches my credit score.
Another website, Glenn, which a lot of people don't know about, is Check My File. which will give you your combined credit score for all three agencies. Because a lot of people just go to Experian, which will give you the highest rating of the three. And actually, when banks are checking your credit rating, they don't look at Experian. They look at Equifax and
I can't remember the name of
the other one. But Check My File, for £7 a month, will work with you to repair any damage on your credit file. And they're just a great resource. It's a free phone number, they're always there. It's brilliant.
And
£7 a month, you can't go wrong.
And as, like in our situation, we've got to manipulate the system so that we can maximise our money, and we need to make sure we stay squeaky clean so that we can borrow what we want when we need it. And it's a very good idea to be able to pay them down. Are you on a repayment scheme with all of the cards? Yeah. Okay. Have you done it via a...
credit counselling services we've done it through.
Okay, and are you paying 100% of it back or a percentage of it back?
It's just a percentage minimum at the moment.
No, I don't mean on a
Sorry.
month basis.
Sorry.
I mean, have you agreed 30p in the pound on settlement of them, or you feel you want to pay 100% of it back?
I don't think we have that arrangement either way, formally.
Okay, because you can do an agreement with the credit card companies if you were to pay them in full.
What is actually happening in respect to the credit cards is that the agents it's been passed on to by the credit card companies keep offering us to be able to pay off fully at a discount.
Yes, because they sell it to them.
Yeah.
They sell it to them for 10p in the pound, and they try and sell it off to you to pay full at 30p.
Working towards getting in the position where we can do that, take advantage of that.
Yeah, even if you just do one at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can normally pay normally the agencies want 50p in the pound, because they've probably paid 30p in a pound for it.
So Ian was suggesting something yesterday, because of the fact that we have two early 20-year-old boys, and one definitely wants to get into property and the other really should think about it, is
sell them your house.
Actually get them to create a company,
buy
the house.
Well, you create a company and you pay them wages.
Yeah. So I think that's something we really
You
need to
create them
seriously
wages, they can be mortgageable, they can take it out in their name or in a limited company's name. That's more difficult when you first get going to get limited company stuff. But you can be shareholder of the company that they're directors of.
Yeah.
Okay, which actually means the shareholder is the controller, isn't it?
That's right.
It's just that doesn't show when the bank does their searches so much.
So,
may I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Yeah. You pass the mic.
It strikes me in the situation you're in, perhaps looking for a mortgage host might be a way of...
Well, that's what his children can do.
Doing it for him, or a joint venture partner. Either one of those, and then you can get into flipping or other opportunities.
Yeah, well, look, you straight away, what's your property worth?
about 330,000.
Okay, and your mortgage is 30?
Yes, about 40 now, something like that.
So you can do family gifted deposits.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. You need to cover yourself, but you can do a family gifted deposit, and they can borrow 50% loan to value off of most building societies without too much hassle, and you can actually gift them the deposit they need to buy it off you for that amount.
Yeah.
You won't make a profit on the property when you sell it, so you've got no taxable issues, and then you can take that money forward and do family gifted deposits for them to buy any properties that you're flipping.
Yeah.
So you could be up and running within a couple of months.
Yes. That's what I'm seeing.
And they might even be able to borrow nearer 200. Depends on what jobs they've got.
Yeah.
So you need to speak to a broker. I can introduce you to a broker who will tell you what you need to do
Yes.
in order to set them up so they can get what they need to give you the maximum working capital.
Right. Okay.
And pay the credit cards off at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
At 30p in the pound.
Yeah. Well, that's what we'll go for anyway.
Okay.
Okay. Right, putting that capital issue aside, my goal is to use sourcing and to generate 40 deals in 12 months.
Okay.
And as well as mentioning working the 2 days a week, my plan is to do that for 40 weeks.
Yep.
So there's a period of time when we can do other things as well.
Yeah.
I would like, I'm going to do 2 flips in that period as well, seeking to source them in Stoke, where I have some contacts up there.
Okay. I mean, Stoke's one of the areas where you can source deals for investors, because there's quite a lot of 2-bed, 2-up, 2-downs for sort of 45, 55, 60 grand. And in the places like Newcastle, under Lyme, and a few of the other nicer places, you can do flips.
Yeah.
So you can do all of what you want to do in that one area.
Yeah, yeah. Then I have a target too that in the 24 to 36 month to get 2 holiday lets in an area within easy reach of the NEC.
Why?
Because there's a high demand for holiday lets for people who attend the events at the NEC.
Okay.
And having sought to source them for things I've done,
yeah,
I know there's high demand.
Okay.
Can
you get all your money back out of them if you bought them, because they're very dear to buy?
Potentially. It's down to sourcing the right property.
Yeah, tell me the numbers when you find it, and I'll tell you whether it's worth it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're just trying to do something outside the box because it looks profitable. It's not necessarily something you can do and pull all your money back out.
Yeah.
And for me, it's all about recycling that cash and getting it back out so that we can go again and we never run out of money.
Then I will attend more networking events than I've already done. I'm going to list the people I already know who are working within property. I know
On the spreadsheet?
Yeah, I know a number of people.
I keep 2 lists.
Yeah.
One with all the people in property that you know, and another one with the people that are interested in you sourcing deals.
There's that. Also, I'm aware of individuals who are tradespeople who are looking to get into doing flipping as well, and would be interested in joint ventures.
Okay.
So I'll
put them on another list so you can CC them or send the deals to them. And who gets emails from me when we need cash for deals? Does anyone else who gets our emails on a month-to-month or week-to-week basis? Yes, we're always having projects, and when we need cash for something, we send an email out to say, would you like to earn 1.5% on your money funding this deal? And we get all the money we need from the people on our database for the deals that we do.
That's where I've developed it to so far.
Okay, thank you.
Right, okay, I just got profile myself just a little bit. I've got about 50 hours a week to spare.
1.5 or 5.0?
1.5.
Okay.
Capital is limited, and I'm based in Woking, so I'm initially targeting probably within an hour of Woking, depending on circumstances. Given the list of strategies, I've narrowed it down to, or my end goal after 12 months will be to get to 100k and 7 to 8k cash flow per calendar month.
Okay. So where are you doing what to start with? Because you've said within 1 hour. What towns have come up?
I've looked at it differently. I haven't gone into that level of depth because I appreciate that I've looked at it from the point of view of strategies that I can employ, and it's come down to 2. One is property sourcing, and the other is rent to rent.
Okay, so you're not going to do sourcing within an hour of you?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the rent to rent you can do within an hour of you easy.
Yes.
So I suggest, because you need to generate yourself some monthly cash flow.
Yes.
That you focus on getting yourself 2 or 3 rent to rent deals in your local area as quickly as possible, and then when you've got that income coming in, you can then spend your time going and sourcing deals, because that takes longer to generate a cash in income.
Okay, all right.
Although the income... So the thing is with rent to rent, if you can generate 10 of them, it's 10 grand a month. And who'd like 10 grand a month? And you can do that within a year, quite comfortably.
Yeah.
So, but it's a headache running them.
That's what I was thinking, in the sense that they, in terms of the strategies, it's boiled down to two: sourcing and rent to rent, and they're very close.
So what I suggest is you alternate week, because 15 hours is what, 2 days?
It's 1 day plus an hour to an hour and a half every morning.
Okay. So the hour to every hour and a half every morning you can spend on rent to rents, because you can go and view local stuff.
Yeah.
And you can do stuff on your way home and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And your 1 day you can travel up,
Do the distance. Yeah.
come back. So that's how I'd be doing that.
Okay.
All right.
All right. In terms of the end goal is to clock up 100k and 7 to 8k per calendar month after a 12-month period. First strategy is sourcing rent to rent. The other one is, as time goes on, potentially get support from friends and family to help build up the capital. Next one is JVs, but that's more of a looser conversation, because the entire focus will be on the sourcing and rent.
Yeah, let's just focus on now.
Yeah, well, focus on now. Within 2 months, I'll have 1 rent to rent and 2 property sources under my belt.
Perfect.
2 to 4 months, the numbers may change based on what you said, but I'm looking at 4 rent to rents and 10 sources.
Okay.
So that leaves me with 5 rent to rents and 22k on sourcing.
Okay.
Based on 2k per sourcing.
Yeah, sure.
Month 4 to 6, another 10 sourcings, which is a further 20k, and another 2 rent to rents.
Okay.
And the reason for reducing the number of rent to rents, that brings me to 7 rent to rent properties, which is...
You'll be spending quite a bit of time, quite a lot of your morning and afternoon time will be spent dealing with them.
Correct.
And very much every time you set up a new HMO, when you're setting it up, it's a lot of time and input. And they all do. It's exactly the same as businesses, relationships. You have the forming, storming, norming, performing. Yeah, that most things have. Relationships have them, new businesses have them, and new HMOs have them. As the tenants form, storm, 1 or 2 of them leave, a couple others join, form a bit less storming, norming, and then gradually they start performing. Okay, you'll get quite a high turnover of a couple of the rooms to start off with. Once you get to 6 or 7, you can employ someone to run it, which means you can then focus on getting another 2 or 3 fairly quickly.
Develop the time,
Yeah, it's that bit in the middle when you've got a certain amount that start taking up a lot of your time, that stop you doing other things. It's like plate spinning, isn't it? You know, when you first start out, you're coming over here and you're going, I've got 1 plate to spin, so I'm going to spend some time developing my business. And you can like work on sourcing, work on whatever you want. And I've just added another property to my portfolio. I've got to come over here and spin 2 of them. And you're coming over here and you're spending more time creating more plates. And before you know it, you've got 6 of them spinning, and you're coming over here and you're coming back over. You see where we're going? So you'll have that challenge as you're growing.
Sure. Okay. Month 6 to 8, that's a tipping point where I decide whether to knock the day job on the head or not.
Yep. Okay.
And that's a serious discussion, because I do have a good job, and I do enjoy it.
Yep.
It's I'm just greedy. I need more money.
It's not greedy. Greedy is what? What does it say? Greed is. It's not greed, is it? You
okay.
need like a
Yeah, I need to progress further.
yes.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
In month 6 to 8, then I'm looking at another one flip, just to balance myself, just to say kind of to consolidate the first 6 months, get over the moving away from the day job, get another flip done. Month 8 to 10, be realistic and take another 2. Month 10 to 12, another 2.
Cool.
And then at the end of it, very rough calculations, and conservatively, I'll be at 100k plus a 7k per calendar month.
Perfect.
So it's
Yeah, if you're putting them hours in, that's totally achievable.
good.
Okay.
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 My name is Ken, and I'm a professional property investor. And my aim in the next 12 months goes something like this.
Aim?
I want loads of money. Loads of it.
Aim?
My aim is to have...
Let's say a different word.
My aim is...
No, let's not use aim, because that's wishy-washy, isn't it?
Okay.
We can all aim as much
Okay,
as
all
we
right
like.
then. I will be having, in the next 12 months, at 3 properties per quarter for rent to rent. And also I am going to have 3 properties for flipping in that accounting period of 12 months at 1 property per month. No, make it 4, actually 4 for the year. That's 3 per month. And I actually am based in Bath, so I focus a lot on the area in Bristol and surrounding area of Bath.
We're starting now for deal flow purposes to start looking at South Wales rather than Bristol, because Bristol's getting harder and harder.
Yes, that's true. Very true.
Okay, so they're starting to look down in South Wales. Okay, I know this from students that we've got in that area that are starting to struggle a bit in Bristol. Although saying that, I've just bought a property with somebody in Bristol for 95 grand, an unmortgageable one that's got a bit of subsidence that's actually worth 220. We've just bought it for 95 without the subsidence and with the 20 grand refurb. It's worth 220. We're just putting it straight in an auction. Okay. Unfortunately, we have to exchange and complete because we want more time in the auction catalogue. But we'd actually done it on the basis where the exchange was delayed a little bit because of I think it was a probate issue. The plan was to exchange contracts subject to valuation, put it in an auction. If it sells at a profit, we would then complete. If it didn't sell at a profit, we would give it back to the people saying it did not value up. We're buying it subject to valuation. Who likes the idea of buying properties to put into auction that needs lots of work? If they make a profit, you keep the profit. If they don't make a profit, you give them back. Don't we want some of them? Our solicitors know how to word this because we've sat with them and we've worked it through. Okay, it's very powerful being able to exchange on stuff that needs loads and loads of work and put it through an auction and give it back if it doesn't sell.
Okay, guys, it's rolling on. With regards to seed capital, I haven't gotten much because I've been out of work for a while with ill health and all sorts. 5k I've got for as seed capital. And
when did you decide not to work on your own business because you wasn't feeling good?
I wasn't making money. I nearly died actually. I was in hospital.
So it was out of action.
Out of hospital, out of work, proper. Doctor said I couldn't work. I have to cancel my gym because I couldn't go to the gym. I basically couldn't do nothing. Basically, I had blood clot. Without going into much detail,
Okay,
I had
so
blood
it was
clots. Yeah,
serious,
so my lungs had to repair and energy come back and motivation.
So you're now back ready for it?
That's it in a word.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so Ken is back again. All right. Thanks a lot about South Wales because one of my 2-bed properties in Newport, and I've got 2 guys who I work with who will be sourcing property for me in Newport.
Perfect.
All right, Leroy and Terry, don't mean anything to you, but names were important to me. So I'm looking in South Wales strictly because my second HMO, which unfortunately was repossessed when I lost my job, that was in Newport.
Okay.
So I've got a lot of contacts with estate agents in Newport and Cardiff, but particularly in Maygar.
And you got people that can run rent-to-rents down there?
Yes. Yes, I have, because I mean, I got a list of people here which I'll be contacting.
And your multi-let cash flowed quite well?
It's not too bad. It could be better because my other 6-bed in Bristol, unfortunately, there's some problem in Paragon, which I'll be talking to you about later. So I won't disclose too much about that. But that's just about $700 a month, and I know I couldn't get 11 for it. But Paragon has just been a bit nasty because I lost my job and I wasn't able to pay the rent because my resources basically became depleted, my finances. So I wasn't able to pay the mortgage and guys weren't paying their rent. You know this school, that's just the way it is. So with regards to me going for, that's in the first quarter, or the first 3 months as of today, efforts will be put into, I am going to get at least 3, I got planned for getting 4 rent-to-rent, and also some angel funding. I know you haven't touched on that yet, but I learned this some day ago. Plan to do 1 flip, as I said, every 3 months, so it's about 4 flips a quarter. I will be doing 4 flips in the year. For the 12-month plan. And also, by the way, I'm a housing officer by trade. I've worked for Bristol City Council, I've worked for Bath City Council, and also Western Supermare, North Somerset, and also West Wiltshire. So I have an...
Western Supermare Article 4?
A lot of it, yes.
Is there lots of guest houses?
A tremendous amount by the seaside.
Do you know the people there that allow or don't allow HMOs?
I'll be honest and say I don't know.
Okay.
I'll be straight with you in that.
Could you find out who they are through your contacts where you used to work?
Yes, I could do that through North Somerset.
So I would spend a little bit of time researching guest houses in Western Supermare.
Yeah. Well, that's what I got here, actually, to be right. Sorry.
Because there is a huge amount of potential. Okay.
Yeah, and Portishead as well. Portishead is farther away from the sea, but there are big potential in Portishead, which is about 8 miles away from Western Supermare. And again, as a housing officer, you have an idea of what's going down, if I may use a colloquial term.
So so you can use your experience. Yeah.
All right. And of course, that's I plan to focus on it for the next 3 months, big time. Now, I work full time. I got 3 kids and a lovely wife. She still loves me. I got 3 kids, and it's 9 to 5, and I've been doing 9 to 5 now for 30 years as a teenager, and frankly, one has had enough. All right, put it this way, I've had enough. I'm speaking for myself here. And also, lease option. Someone talked to me about lease options. So that's something I'll be focusing as well once I get to grips with it a bit more.
You still have lease option opportunities abundant in South Wales.
Yes, I get that,
The challenge you've got in South Wales is the Welsh love the Welsh.
I know that, Glenn. Trust me on this one. I know that. I've had some hard times, but I'm the type of guy who nothing scares me. I'm a Jamaican, by the way.
Okay.
Usain Bolt is my cousin. Sorry, he's not.
How about finding a JV partner who's Welsh and speaks Welsh?
I have tried that, but not in the same extent. Not to the extent that I should have, because at the time I wasn't aware. My knowledge of the property business wasn't as it should be. I'm getting better now, obviously, why I'm here, hence I'm here today.
Because the Welsh hate the English.
Well,
with a passion, it's maybe a broad brush thing, but there's a high percentage of them which would much rather deal with other Welsh people than deal with English. Yeah, I'm sure that type of thing works wonderful. But it's good for me to point out what challenges you're going to have. And you've already experienced it.
I've experienced it. I went to Rhondda Valley because I started before I became problems. I won't go into that, but I started back in 2008-ish, and I lost my job then, and I didn't get a warm welcome. Shall I put it that way?
Yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, that's with I'm a black brother. It doesn't bother me anyway because it doesn't bother me. I just go for it. But that's the way I am. I talk to everybody. I love everybody. That's the way I am. So it's not a problem for me at all. But you're right, Glenn. That's the way it is. All right. So I did find that as an obstacle, but obstacles I see them as a challenge. That's just the way I am. And West Wiltshire, because I live in Bath, West Wiltshire is just 8 miles away from me in terms of distance.
What towns are there?
We are here, got them written down here. Trowbridge, because I know some good things happening in Trowbridge with respect to property purchasing. Melksham and Chippenham. And
They're
also...
all very expensive.
Trowbridge isn't too bad, but Chippenham is. But Westbury and Westminster, no, Warminster, Westminster, London, Warminster is slightly cheaper. But yes, Chippenham is expensive.
Okay, so what was your strategy for around
My strategy for that is for, and thus I want to focus in after month, I will be focusing on that on month 4 because I've come across...
what strategy?
The strategy is to purchase with the money I've made in the last... 3-4
Yeah, but
weeks.
you're not going to be able to recycle your cash in them areas.
Okay.
And the cost of buying and selling is too dear.
Okay.
So you need to think again about where you're going to go for that.
Yeah.
And South Wales is okay for sourcing deals. South Wales, there are the nicer towns which are okay for flipping.
But one thing I thought about, and tell me if I'm wrong, I was looking at this whole thing of, because where I'm working at the moment, I'm in housing in Bath, what the local authorities are doing, and in Bristol, if you can have a property, I'm sure most of you know this, you have a property and you can get it sorted, meet all the criteria, the usual building standard, blah, 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 and you can let them have the property for you for a contractual agreement for 3 to 5 years, and they take the property off you, literally, and let it for you.
Yeah.
And
no, I get that, but our
okay.
job's not what to do with the properties once we've got them. We want to maximise our income.
Sure.
But let's get the properties in the way where we recycle our cash first, and then we'll work out what we can do best with them.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
I follow that.
To buy something to fit a strategy, the out strategy is not a good thing. We buy properties that come up that are deals, and they'll be so different. You know, if you have one strategy in mind when you go and see somebody, you'll do very few deals. You need to be very open. So don't go in with a view to do that. Go in to buy something to recycle your cash, and then we'll think about what to do best to maximise the income. Okay.
So would you say then, based on what you've just said, capital is coming in, and cash is coming in, obviously, and say about month 6. I'm not necessarily saying we must be flexible and keep an open mind, which I entirely agree with, but I'm also thinking later on, would it be a non-starter to look at doing the things the council, the deal with the council?
Look, the first objective is to give up the day job, yeah?
First and foremost, yeah,
Okay.
correct, yeah.
The fastest way of doing that is rent to rent.
Sure.
You're doing rent to rents in...
Going to be in Bristol and South Wales.
Okay.
And Cardiff.
So Bristol is very good for rent to rent. There's a few people doing it very well round there.
Yeah, so I understand, yeah.
Okay. So focus on getting... How much cash flow do you need from them properties to give up your day job?
I need, with my wife's income, 3.5 grand.
So you need 4 or 5 of these properties?
Precisely correct, yes.
So focus on that first.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Otherwise you're doing too many things all
Yeah,
at the same
okay.
time. Focus on that, get them, get your income, that will then free you up to go and do everything else. Will then get you going over to the guest house areas.
Yeah, Shane Weston, Supermare, yeah, and Portishead, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for listening, guys.
I have 2 properties in West Midlands, which are in a process of refurbishment.
Yeah.
And from the first property, they are HMOs.
Yeah.
In a couple of months, I will remortgage the first one.
Yeah.
To fund refurbishment of the second one.
Yeah.
And I will have about £50,000 to go ahead
Roll
with
out.
some flipping. And after another probably 4 months,
Okay.
I will have additional
funds. Okay.
for remortgaging the second one.
Okay.
In the meantime, I will start sourcing deals in Reading area.
Okay. For who?
For first-time buyers.
For who?
There is a demand for single-family houses.
Yeah, but people want specific houses. They're looking for a house to buy.
Yes.
If you present them a cheap house, people aren't looking for themselves for cheap houses. Does that make sense? They're looking for a house they like.
Yes.
So trying to source stuff cheap to then pass on to people who want a house to go and look at it and go, no, I don't like that. You know, you need to be sourcing for investors who don't care what the house looks like. It's all about the numbers.
I see.
So in order to do that, that area is no good.
Okay.
Sourcing is all about where the properties are cheap.
So the flipping will be better then? Or
The flipping will probably be okay there. But you can't do that yet.
yes.
So what are you going to do in the meanwhile?
I was thinking about rent to rent, but there is Article 4 and very high prices.
But word. It's the but word. But you're dead right. Okay.
I didn't manage numbers yet for rent to rent in this area.
So you need to do some more homework tonight.
Yes.
And look at the areas around you that aren't Article 4.
Okay.
And start looking for doing them for rent to rent. Because over the next 3 or 4 months while you're doing your other stuff, you can generate yourself 4 or 5 of these that will give you £4,000 a month cash flow for a long while. If you want to do sourcing, drive to Liverpool. Does it sound horrible?
Sounds too far away.
It's hard work.
Can you do sourcing without seeing properties personally? Just
Are you in your comfort zone at the moment?
I don't feel comfortable
So what are you going to do about it?
with properties which I haven't seen.
No. So if you're going to source properties, how long does it take you to drive to Liverpool?
4 hours or more.
So a 4-hour drive, a bed and breakfast stay overnight, and a 4-hour drive back. Is it worth doing that for £2,000?
Yeah.
Is it? Or is it too much hard work for £2,000?
For my situation, it sounds fine.
Okay, and that's what you've got to ask yourself, isn't it? Is it worth my time and effort going up there? Because unless you do it, you're not giving it a chance.
Okay.
Okay. And if you say the right thing when you go into estate agents and you do, you try to sell properties, or if you want to be the lazy man's way of doing it, go to Liverpool network events and hook up with some local sources there and say, look, I'll sell them down south for you. And you split the profit and let them source them and you sell them down there. Because I can see that you're comfortable, okay, yeah, and it's just a bit too much effort to make up, that £2,000 a week. I'd rather watch Coronation Street.
I'm not so good in long driving.
So we've got you sussed, yeah? Or get together and go up there together. And for the first few times, work together while you build up your confidence, and then agree that you're going to divide the area up and you're going to go...
Yes.
But go up as a pair. You go up as a pair. There are loads of JVs going on between people in a partnership programme. In the mentorship programme, there's loads of JVs going on, where the people that are good at some things are JVing with the people who are good at other things, and they're both using their strengths of what they do. That's what it's all about. A mastermind group is a group of people that come together each month to share the experiences of working together at a common cause. And the common theme is property, and the common cause is making money. So every month a group of people come together, we all work together at how we make more money. And it's a brilliant group. And there's so much going on. Okay, any other questions? Okay, I think what we'll do then... All right, for the next couple of days, I need to practice something. When you see me put my hand up, could you please all put your hand up? So let's have a practice run. Right, when you see people's hands go up, please can you put your hands up and go and sit down? Okay, because we're going to be doing quite a lot of role play stuff, and it's very difficult for me to communicate with everybody when I'm trying to shout to say, can I have everyone's attention? So as soon as I do that, everybody goes, and then everyone goes, oh, right, and it's just magic. Okay, okay, and it saves me shouting. All right, so from now on, if you see people, well, me with a hand up, please, can you put your hand up and sit down? Especially great for the end of coffee breaks and that sort of thing, when people are milling about and waiting to start. Again, I put my hand up, and if everybody sees hands up, please all just sit down, and it works brilliant. Okay. Well, I've said everything I need to say for today. The next 2 days are all about what we need to do. Today's been very much a mindset day, getting your business plans all ready so you know what you're going to do. We've got something that you know you can work with that will make you profit and get you to where you want to be. Now the next 2 days is just going to be totally crammed full of ways of doing things. It's going to be all content about how to do stuff, and lots of role playing, negotiation exercises, all that type of stuff. So tomorrow morning again we'll look to be all sort of seated for around 10 o'clock so we can get going. And then Sunday, it just gets a little bit deeper. Okay. And on Sunday, a lot of it will go over your head. Okay. I just need you to take the concept on board so that you know. Sunday's the day when you realise how much you need our mentoring, how much more money we really can make you when you're on our mentoring program.